Pump comes off, and I'm thinking, that's it now. I'm not coming back to the Osborne building anymore. That's it. All jobs are good. So we go to this appointment with the doctor to discuss what happens next. And we sat down with him. Now, bear in mind, I like this guy. He's a real nice, funny guy. He told me a story about he knew a guy that had the same cancer as me, and he was 10 years into it and he was still going. So he wasn't a doom and gloom kind of guy. He was a realist, but he wasn't a doom and gloom sort of guy. So he sat down and we said, okay, brilliant. So we rang the bell. What now? Well, we need to keep on treating you. Okay. What was the ringing the bell about? Oh, it's a symbolic gesture because you've reached 12 rounds of the standard chemo care that we give. But in your case, you're responding well to it. So we want to carry that on. Okay, so I rang the bell for nothing. Okay, well, that's what it is. Okay, so we're formulating some sort of plan now. Okay, so I carry on with the chemo. Okay, so what does that mean? Exactly the same. So a week later, I'm back in the chair having chemo again in the exact same way that I just had before I rang the bell. 15 rounds this time. So I did 12 rounds to begin with and did another 15 rounds on this new chemo. So again, we're back to rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. And it gets to a point where you start asking the question, okay, so where's the end game? What's this leading to? What are we doing here? Are we doing it for a reason? Is it just to extend life? What's happening? Now, unfortunately, I said earlier in one of the other videos that the doctor we were dealing with, he had a rotation, so he had to go to a new hospital. So we had a new doctor now, and we weren't used to him. He wasn't used to us. So that banter had kind of gone. It was starting a relationship back from normal. So I straight asked him the question, where are we going with this? What is the plan? Well, Mr. Anderson, maybe one of the options going forward is maybe surgery. If you improve enough, maybe we could look at surgery. So it's okay. Well, when will we know the answer to that? Oh, I don't know. We'll keep going and we'll monitor it ear by ear, week by week, every 2 weeks, and see how things go. Okay, so surgery definitely an idea then. Yeah. Surgery's an idea. We could possibly look at surgery for you, but his tone was one of a dismissive tone to kind of shut me up. I don't believe he was doing that on purpose. I think that's how. This is just my opinion. I'm not generalizing anybody else's opinion. I'm not saying I'm right. This is how I felt at the time, but I felt I was being fobbed off now. That the standard of care is going to be now my life. It was just chemo until the chemo doesn't work anymore, and eventually the poison builds up to a point that kills me. That's how I felt at the time, and that's how we were going. There was, every time I brought up the conversation about surgery, it was dismissed. Oh, your markers aren't ready for that yet. You've got too many liver mets to do that now. We can't do the surgery at the moment. No, that's just not possible at the moment. The benefits outweigh the gains, and you could probably die on the table. So no. We just keep on doing what we're doing. I'm not ashamed to say I was getting frustrated. I'm not ashamed to say that because I'm a doer. I'm a pragmatist. Let's get things done. But the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. We're not doing that. We're doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same result. So you tell me who's insane. Something's got to be done. So then we started to raise the questions about, okay, well, look, would we get a different result if we went private? Will we have different answers if we went private? The private sector has more resources than we do. We have a standard that we give. So yes, there is a chance if you go private, you would get a different answer to the ones that I'm giving you. You would get better one-to-one care. There's your first problem. We talk about the NHS and the private sector. The NHS is so overloaded with work that they treat the disease, again, my opinion, I believe they treat the disease you've got, which I think would end up far more expensive. A simple CEA blood test will tell you if your CEA levels are on the rise, and if they're on the rise, then you've got cancer. But we don't offer that standard. But we wait till you've already got it out of control before you start doing the chemo thing. And surely that must be more expensive than a simple injection. So anyway, this is where we are now. So we're now thinking, okay, so if we stick with the NHS, we're just going to run out the clock. That's the realism of it now. We're just running out the clock. Okay, so we're going to have to do something. We're going to have to do something different. So we asked the doctors, any way you could suggest? No, not really. We can't really recommend anything. But if you Google it, ask around, maybe you'll be able to do some research. Maybe you'll be able to find something more tailor-made to you. Okay, we asked the question about trials. Yeah, there's trials out there, but again, it'll be off your own back to try and sort those trials out. So that brings us on to problem number 2. The NHS are not willing to help me find an alternative to the treatment that they're giving me at the moment. Whether it's not willing or not able, the conclusion is the same thing. I'm the one that has to find this. We're the one that now has to find the next step. A macabre way of looking at it is that the NHS is prepared for me to die, just by giving me this standard of care which runs out the clock. They've got no other way of helping. I do hope it's different to other people that are going through this story and you've had a different experience than I have, but this is genuinely the experience that I have had. I feel as though the NHS was there, again, I've said it 100 times probably, to run out the clock. There was no get out of jail free card there. If we're going to get out of this mess and get this disease treated, we're going to have to look at alternative ways of doing this now, because they're not able to help us. So that's what we did. So we made a decision. Okay, so we'll continue with what we're doing at the moment. But in the background, we're going to start researching Oxford, Manchester, London, all sorts of different places to see what trials are available for, get my medical file transferred over to different people, and start having chats with different private sectors, and see if there's anybody that can help. And I'll go into a little bit more of that in the next video.